For Father's Day, I wanted to do a little experiment, and that was to create these dad joke tumblers 4 different times. We have one made with the Cricut. We have another one that's also made with a Cricut. Can't wait to show you that application. Then we have one made with the EufyMake UV printer. And last but not least, we also have the same tumbler again, but although this is engraved using my xTool F2 UV. Now, what I want you to do as you watch the rest of this video is to have a little competition. Which one of these applications is going to be your favorite and which is going to be your least favorite winner? If you're new here, my name is Ashlee Falco, and I literally test everything so you don't have to. And in today's test, what we are gonna do is we are gonna put the same decal or SVG file on all 4 of these glass tumblers, and they're all going to be used with a different machine or application. We're gonna be using the same SVG file that is found within my cardstock warehouse, Celebration Warehouse. So if you decide that you wanna create any one of these tumblers, you wanna check out the SVG bundle. Now, before we get started in the test, I wanna go over some of the supplies that you are gonna need. Now, for 2 of the tumblers, we are gonna be using a Cricut. We are gonna be doing one with just a vinyl and the other one with this really cool stuff that's called etching cream. So we are going to etch our design into the Cricut. The next one that we are going to do is we are gonna be using the EufyMake UV printer and put a sticker on top of the glass. Now, the supply, if you decide to go with the sticker and the EufyMake UV printer, will be a sticker sheet and also an adhesion prep pad. I love prepping my item. Ooh, let's go back over the Cricut because I did forget. For the vinyl decal, you are going to need a bit of vinyl. Well, technically you are gonna need the vinyl as well with the etching cream, but then also some transfer tape. Then the last and final thing that we are gonna do is we are going to take this glass over to the xTool F2 UV. Using the rotary attachment tool, we are going to engrave directly onto this glass. Now, all the supplies are linked in the description of this video. So if you decide to ever want to make any of these projects, you wanna look for all the supplies linked down below. Now, I am gonna show you how we make all 4 of these glasses. And what I want you to do is I want you to start ranking them as the best or the worst possible method for all 4 of these glasses. We're gonna be ranking them in 4 different categories. One is going to be looks. How well does it look on the finished product? The second is going to be durability. Are you able to wash this, use it? Is it going to withstand use over time? And the next is how long does this process take for me or for you, because crafting time is limited at the end of the day. And the last but not least is going to be cost per glass. How much does each individual glass cost me to make with all separate applications? All right, now that we've gotten the entire game plan and all the supplies out of the way, let's head over to what my opinion is going to be the easiest application for all 4 of these glasses, and that's going to be creating a vinyl decal with Cricut and Cricut Design Space. Let's go. All right, so over at Cricut Design Space, what you wanna do is add a new project. We're gonna use a blank canvas and just press Start Designing. Now what you wanna do is come over here into Upload and Upload Image, and you are gonna find the SVG file that you're gonna use for today's project. I'm gonna be using the Loading Dad Joke SVG file. Ain't that so cool? And it definitely matches the vibe of a beer can. You're gonna drag and drop that into Cricut Design Space, and you are gonna press Continue. If you want to rename this, you totally can. Then once you're done, you just wanna press Upload. Now what we're gonna do is resize our SVG file to fit within our glass tumbler. I love utilizing a fabric measuring tape for this because you can wrap this around and it's flexible. So you're gonna be able to get the best measurement possible. For this particular cup, I think I'm gonna do 3 inches wide by no more than 3.5 inches tall. So over at Cricut Design Space, I'm gonna select everything and I'm gonna come over here to size and I'm gonna resize this. The width, I want no more than 3 inches and the height is about 3 inches, so I'm okay with that. All right, now we're done with the design of our project. So all I'm gonna do now is come over here into Make. And while I am using some smart vinyl for today's project, you technically don't need a mat for that. However, I do have a little bit of it cut off. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a mat for today's project just because I don't wanna have any type of cutting issues when I go to cut this. So I'm just gonna add this onto a Cricut mat, just like that. I'm gonna use a mat and I'm gonna press confirm. We need to connect to our Cricut and then we're gonna press continue. Now what you want to do is select the material that you're gonna be using for today's project, pressing done. Awesome. Now what we're gonna do is we are gonna take our mat and install it into the Cricut. Over here at the Cricut, I am just gonna put this inside my machine, pressing the play button, and it's gonna automatically read the mat size and then also start to cut. Now that that's done cutting, all you wanna do is press the eject button and your vinyl decal is finished cutting. Now, no matter what method you choose to do for today's project, what I always want you to remember is that prepping your base item is key. So for the vinyl decals, what I am gonna do is I am going to prep my item with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. That just takes away all of the dirt and also the oils from your skin from handling it. So I'm just going to put my hand inside and I'm going to rub the outside of my glass can tumbler, just so we make sure that we have the best adhesion possible. I honestly believe that prep is key no matter what application we do. While we wait for this to dry off just a little bit, what I'm gonna do is I am gonna go ahead and start weeding out my vinyl decal. So I'm gonna take my scissors, I'm gonna cut away the things that I don't need, which is gonna be everything that hasn't cut. And for this application, we are going to just weed out the stuff we do not want to stay on our vinyl, on our cup. Awesome. Your final decal should look something like this, where it's fully weeded and everything that you wanted to keep was on left over. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a little bit of transfer tape. I like to take and trim my transfer tape to the size decal that we have, just because you can save the rest of this transfer tape for a later project. This right here you definitely can use. Then what you're gonna do is you are gonna take your transfer tape. This right here is sticky. You are gonna add this to your vinyl decal and give it a good rub. I am just gonna use a bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, a credit card will do just fine for that. Awesome. Now that we have that done, I am going to be using a cup cradle to hold my cup into place. If you don't have a cup cradle, just utilizing 2 towels to cradle your cup so it doesn't roll around on your table would be very beneficial. Now my desk goes up and down, so I'm just going to drop my desk down a little bit so I can get a really good eye on how to place the decal nice and center. All right, so here's the vinyl decal. What you're going to want to do now is you're gonna split apart the 2 layers and we are gonna roll away our decal. It's gonna be stuck onto this transfer tape, okay? Just like that. Now what you're gonna wanna do is just center this onto your cup. Give it one good rub again with either your credit card or your bone folder. And then what you're gonna do is you are going to peel away the transfer tape. And there you have it, your finished glass tumbler. 2 things to note about this application process is, 1, I just use black vinyl for this cup, but you could use a wide assortment of colored vinyls because they come in all different colors. Also, another thing that could help with durability in this project is going to be taking a hairdryer and just blow a little bit of hot air. Not too much, because you don't want to break the glass, because when glass gets heated up, it will tend to break and fracture. But putting a little bit of air or hot air on your decal will activate that glue and make it a little bit of a stronger bond to the glass. But all in all, that wasn't bad. And it took me about 10 minutes to make this glass. I would say that that's really good. All right, now that we're done doing that one, we are going to yet again use the Cricut, but it's going to be a little bit different. We are going to be using the etching cream. So the decal that we just created, it's gonna be the same decal. However, we need to go back into the design process because there's one additional step that I want you to do just to ensure that you have the best cut decal for this method, okay? So going back over into Cricut Design Space, what I want you to do is just press done on your Cricut. If we're there, we're just gonna go back to where we were, all right? Now this time, what I want you to do is I want you to insert a shape. We're gonna go into shapes. We're gonna stay within the free section and we are going to just insert this rectangle. Now I'm gonna change this rectangle's color over to a different color just so it won't be the same as what we have here for our decal. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to right click, arrange this to the back, and I'm gonna create a box around my decal, but a fairly decent size box, just like this, okay? So I have a fairly decent box that's around the around our final finished decal, and that's because when we put this etching cream on the glass, it's gonna get a little messy, okay? And if we get this etching cream on your glass, at the end of the day, your glass is not going to look great, okay? So what we wanna do is create a fairly decent box. Now for both of these pieces right here, what I want you to do is now press slice, and you are going to be able to drag this box over and delete these two pieces right here. So this is what your final result will look like, okay? Now what you're gonna do is press make. I am gonna keep it the same size as before, and moving forward, I'm gonna use the same size for every other glass just so we can get a true apples to apples of what the differences on all applications look like. So over here on the mat, we're gonna press confirm. I'm gonna load in my vinyl onto the Cricut mat just like I did the first time. So the process is very similar. All right, we're gonna press continue. We are going to find our smart vinyl permit. Okay, we are gonna find our material. We are gonna head over into the Cricut and we are gonna add this into the Cricut and we're gonna let the Cricut do its cuts for this one. All right, now that that has been cut, we are just going to eject. All right, let's take out our vinyl decal and we are going to just cut away the stuff we don't want. So all of this right here is still usable material for another project. Okay, so this particular project is a little different in weeding than the first one. We are gonna do what is called reverse weeding. So actually the stuff we do want in the finished product is the stuff that we're gonna have to weed. All right, your final decal is gonna look something like this. And already before we even attempt to do the etching cream, you're gonna notice that in my little area right here, I am missing the center of both of my A's. That's because they are so small, they didn't wanna stay on my transfer sheet. So we already have a little difference between these two items right here, okay? Now, what we're going to do is the same thing that we did before with the prep. We are going to take some rubbing alcohol. We are gonna add it onto our glass because we do wanna prep our item really well so we have the best end results possible. We're gonna set this aside and let this dry. I'm just gonna add it to my cup cradle. Then what we're gonna do is we are going to take some more transfer tape, just like this. We got transfer tape and a vinyl decal. We are going to take the transfer tape away from this white piece of paper, add it onto our decal using a bone folder. So this project is fairly similar to the first project with a vinyl decal. There we have it. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take away the white portion, just like we did with the vinyl decal the first time. Now that this is dry, we are going to now place this onto our glass. Yes, we are gonna place this entire black square on our glass. Okay, you wanna make sure and get this a nice, good rub all the way around. There you have it. We are going to take off the transfer tape, leaving the vinyl decal on your cup. All right, and then if anything is still air bubbled in, like you can see some air bubbles right here, what I want you to do is make sure you press those down. We do not wanna have any air bubbles left over. It is okay if your sides right here are not put down because we are gonna get rid of this vinyl eventually, but we just wanna make sure that there's no air bubbles around your letters. All right, there we go. Now we get to do the fun part, is we are gonna take our etching cream and I'm gonna take a paintbrush and you are gonna apply this onto your glass. All right, now that we have a fairly thick coat over the entire decal, notice that I don't have any type of etching cream anywhere else besides in this concentrated area. We have to let this sit. Now the directions on this bottle says to let it sit for 5 minutes. However, I have used a different brand of this etching cream in the past heavily, and what I have found is that the longer you let it sit, the more etch you will get. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to set a timer for 15 minutes, let this sit for 15 minutes. Then what you have to do is you have to go wash it off. So you're not gonna be able to see that part, but I will show you the after effects of what it looks like after it sits for 15 minutes and also gets washed off. All right, I got it all washed off. This is what it looks like. Now what you have to do is peel off the vinyl decal that you applied onto the cup. It should be fairly easy because it is wet, but just in case, you could use your vinyl tool pick and just weed out the leftover vinyl. All right, now that we have weeded out the rest of the vinyl, I have to say that this project didn't turn out as best as what I thought it was gonna be. The etch turned out amazing. However, you can see that there is going to be a little bit of bleed left over from the etching cream. The etching cream, for whatever reason, went underneath the vinyl decal and left a little bit of an issue right here. And then you can see in certain areas that we have a few little other bleed marks that didn't make for the best end result gift. So that is a bummer. All right, now what we should do is we should head over to the EufyMake UV printer and print out a decal and put it on another glass. So to be honest with you, creating anything within the EufyMake Studio is probably going to be the easiest because really it's just going to be a drag and drop situation. So what we need to do now is we need to come over here and press the plus sign, which just creates a brand new project within the EufyMake Studio software. Now we are going to be using the same SVG file that we've used for the other two cups. So we are just going to drag and drop that into the studio. Now that I have my SVG file loaded in, just like when we created this cup right here, and I told you at the very end that the great part about this version is that if you had different colored vinyl decals, you could definitely use different color vinyl to create your own type of custom like different color variances. You also can do the same with the EufyMake UV printer. So with an SVG file, you can come up here and you can change your SVG file to any different color that you want without ever having to carry like a bunch of different colors of vinyls and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna add in a darker red color. Now that we have our color figured out, what we need to do now is head over to the EufyMake UV printer and add in our sticker. So over here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna open up your hatch, and this is going to be your small flatbed printer. And I am just going to add in my sticker paper to the small flatbed printer and peel off this plastic sheet. Now I'm only gonna be printing one decal for today's project. However, we are gonna have a whole lot of leftovers. You definitely could print more stickers if you wanted to all at once, but I'm just gonna do one just to make sure that we have a true apples to apples comparison to all the other make times. I did forget to mention that this tumbler right here, remember how this one took about 10 minutes to create? This one right here took about 15 minutes of actually me creating it, then another 15 minutes of the etching cream staying on there. So in total, this took about 30 minutes. Going back over to our sticker that we're creating, what we're gonna do now is we are gonna take a snapshot. What that's doing is it's creating a live preview of what is inside the EufyMake UV printer. Now, as we wait for the snapshot to get done, what I'm gonna do is select my file and I am going to create a UV DTF sticker. All right, this is the live preview of what is inside our machine right now. So I'm going to take and make sure that this SVG file fits onto our sticker paper, which it does. Now I'm just gonna press print. And what the machine is doing now is sending the file over to my printer. It is not connected at all to my printer. It is all a Bluetooth Wi-Fi situation. All right, this entire sticker is going to take a little over 10 minutes to get done printing. So we are just gonna press start. Now, since we're waiting for that to get done printing, what we're gonna do is we are gonna prep our glass just like we did with all the rest of it. However, this time, I'm gonna be using a UV adhesion promoter prep pad. Now the print is done printing. This took a total of just under 10 minutes to print, and we did 0.22 milliliters. I will get into the cost of that here in a second, but what we're gonna do is press finish, and I just want to turn off the light in my Eufy so you can see what it looks like printed. So this right here is your finished printed sticker, and it looks fairly good. Look at that. Turned out all right. All right, so now what you're going to do with this sticker is you're gonna put it inside the laminator that is an additional accessory for the EufyMake UV printer. Essentially what that's going to do is it's gonna put like a transfer sheet over the top of your sticker, because right now there's just a bunch of different stickiness everywhere, and it would be almost impossible for you to just get just this sticker off. So we have to put it in the laminator. So my laminator is heating up right now. All right, now that it's heated up, what you want to do is put your sticker into the laminator. Okay, then what we're going to do is we are going to trim, and this is what your finished sticker is going to look like. Now, to get your sticker onto your glass tumbler is going to feel very similar to these two projects right here. What we want to do is we want to cut off any of the excess that we don't need. You're going to take the clear sheet and pull that away from the white. So this is the trash now, and this is going to be the back of your decal. Then what you're going to do is you're going to insert this onto your glass just like what we've done with the other glasses. Making sure you get this nice and stuck on there. So I'm just going to use my bone folder, and we're going to pull off the clear tape. All right, and there you have it, your third finished cup, and it looks so good. My goodness, and the possibilities are definitely endless because you can print any color that you would want. All right, now for our last and final test is going to be using the rotary attachment tool with the xTool UV F2 laser. So I have already gone ahead and assembled the rotary attachment tool and put it inside the xTool F2 UV. We are going to be doing the same glass. This is the same glass that we have been doing. There is going to be no prep needed for today's project. I'm just going to stick this into my Chuck rotary attachment, and I'm going to tighten this up to where it will hold my tumbler nice in place. Couple important things that you are going to need to know. We're going to need to make sure that this is nice and level. And then because this is glass, the autofocus feature for the machine won't be able to see the glass because it's see-through. So just for the time being, I am going to add in a piece of tape onto the glass just so I can see its dots. That's going to be for the autofocus. I'm not entirely sure if you can see that, but there's some dots right there, a blue one and a red one. Once we get the autofocus done, we can take the tape off. We don't need that. It's just to do the autofocus. So over at the xTool Studio software, what you want to do is press New Project, and the xTool is already set up and turned on, so it's just going to give you a live preview of what's inside the xTool right now. All right, I am going to change the mode over into the Chuck rotary attachment. And what I am going to do now is I'm going to do an auto measure. This is just going to make sure that I'm going to have the best engraving on my glass. The next thing that you are going to need to know is going to be getting the diameter of your glass. So my glass is 3 inches, so I'm going to come up here to this right here, and I'm going to put 3 inches in there. I am now going to select the material, so we're going to go down to glass, and I'm going to use the clear soda lime glass setting. I'm just going to press apply. At this point in time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my plastic from my glass. We don't need that anymore. Now that I have that piece of plastic off, I'm just going to refresh my background. It's not going to do anything else besides you're going to see that there is no piece of tape on the glass. And now what we're going to do is we are going to find that SVG file, and just like with any other software that we've been using, you're going to drag and drop it into the xTool Studio software. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to resize this just like what we have with every other thing. And what I need to do now is I need to rotate this 90 degrees, because if we rotate it like this, this is how it's going to look on your finished cup. So it's going to rotate, it's going to engrave like that. You don't want it to engrave like that. You want the DAD joke to be at the mouth of your cup which is over there on the right. So I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. And I'm gonna make sure that it is nice and centered on my cup. Now, the one thing that I do love is that this particular machine has this really cool thing called the framing button. So we're gonna be able to see where the machine is going to engrave. So if we don't like the placement of it, we can change that before ever committing to an engrave. So we're gonna come up here to framing, and you're gonna be able to see on the machine a blue light that's being flashed. That is kind of gonna give me an idea of where the engraving is gonna go on my glass. Now, I love that feature because we are not gonna waste a blank. I liked the placement. The other cool thing here is if you select your engraving and press processing results image, this is kind of what an idea of what your item is going to look like. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so now let's press process. The estimated time for this machine is going to be 23 minutes for this. So let's just press start. And then over at the machine, there is this right here. So we're just gonna press the go button and the machine is going to start engraving. Okay, so the last and final tumbler is finished and there is a little bit of an imperfection here. No, I did not want to reprocess this to fake as if that the engraving turned out perfect the very first try. However, what I would have done is instead of taking it out of the rotary attachment tool, I would have just reprocessed this design again, doing another 23-minute engraving so that it would pick up this little bit that's right here. You're gonna be able to tell that we are missing, it's not really missing, it's just not very deep of an engraving. This dot and then this right here, this please wait. For whatever reason, this bottom corner did not engrave as well as all the rest of the design. I actually kind of find that to be really weird because the rest of the design looks perfect. There isn't any issues anywhere else. So I do find that to be a little interesting that we had some random hiccup right here. So that I definitely did not account for. But at the end of the day, we now have 4 tumblers that all look different. A vinyl decal tumbler, a etched tumbler with the etching cream. We have a UV sticker tumbler. Then we also have the laser engraved tumbler. All right, so now we've gotten to the point where we should be judging which one is the best and which one is not. I would love to know what your opinion is in the comments of this video. However, I'm gonna tell you mine. First, the least favorite version of all of these is probably going to be the vinyl decal version. I know it looks good, but the durability of this is just not going to hold up over time. Although it was very easy to use and very affordable to make, I'm just not 100% in love with this because you can pick this off. It will come off super easy. Now, the third place winner for me is going to be the UV DTF sticker because it kind of feels like the vinyl decal. It is a little bit more costly to make. I mean, while we only spent 30 cents on the actual sticker making itself, to purchase a UV printer would cost you a ton of money. Also, if you tried hard enough, you could pick this off, again, leaving you with something like a vinyl decal that you could just not have a gift after it's been washed a couple times, which would definitely, that would just stink as a gift recipient. Now, the second place winner for me is going to be the etching cream. And while I know that my design did not turn out amazing, I still think that this is better than the other 2 options. The reason for that is because this is permanent. These cups in their truest, nakedest form are dishwasher safe. So you are gonna be able to dishwasher this as well. You're never gonna be able to take this off. The downfall here is that we do have a messed up engraving or etching. So it is permanent, it ain't going anywhere. But the great part is that it is permanent and that if it would have turned out 100% perfect, we would be able to use this time and time again without any issues. The other thing I like is that this right here is going to be the most affordable outside of, you know, doing this one is going to be fairly affordable because really all you need is a little bit of vinyl and a Cricut, some etching cream, and you're on your way to be etching some glass. It did take some time though to make this. And honestly, it took more time than to do the laser engraving. But I have to say the true winner in my eyes, even though I had this little issue right here, again, I would have just reprocessed it. But for the sake of this video, I didn't want to not show you that the machine can mess up, is going to be the laser engraved UV xTool F2 UV laser that engraved this right here, because the crispiness of all the rest of that, I did not have to cut or weed any vinyl, which in my opinion, I don't really like vinyl crafts anyways. And so I just eliminated that whole factor and that potential frustration for me. And I still was left with something that I would still gift. Even though it's missing some engraving right here, I would actually still gift this. With all the rest of them, I'm not entirely sure I would gift it. And that goes to say something. Now, the unfortunate part about this being the winner is that the xTool F2 UV laser is the most expensive machine that we have used today. But when you get really good machines, you get some really cool items that you can gift or even sell. And in my opinion, it's all worth it in the end. Now, again, I know I've already told you, but I would love to know who your winner is. Which one of these 4 tumblers is the winner for you? Put them in the comments of this video because I would love to know your opinion, because you never know. Your opinion might be definitely different than mine. All right, the last and final thing here is if you wanted to create any of the tumblers that you have seen today, make sure and look in the description of this video for the supplies and also the SVG file that you can find within my cardstock warehouse, Celebration Warehouse. I hope I inspired you to create, my friends, and I'll see you next time.